Connected. 11:11. One's on the clock. Time to rock.
We're live.
This is just gonna be a noisy episode because my girl is going through her closet. My neighbor's downstairs doing what he's doing. I have sounds coming in, but that's what happens when you record in your house. The idea is to do this in a studio.
Big talks. Big talks this summer about studios recording.
Yeah, somebody will be interested in Talkin Nets doing this in a live studio or I don't know, any kind of studio versus us doing this remote out of my house. But
we're breaking records too. Last night the stream was balling out, right? We had like over 1,000 views. You had like 70-some people in the stream.
I was pleasantly surprised how many people came to chill in my living room with a blurry camera from the MacBook. Well, not blurry, but a not HD camera from my MacBook and just watch the game. I played some beats in between. A lot of people popped up and stayed the whole time. What up, Mark? We're setting up.
We got people pulling up before the tweet goes out on a Monday morning, 11 a.m. Memorial Day morning.
Let's see. Is my mic connected? I don't think my mic is connected. It is. It's just quiet. Let me see. I got to change this setting. Turn this all the way up because I can edit it and make it quieter later. Near setting. We're good. Okay.
We are golden.
Let me go back and check this sound. Sounds good on my end. And let's go.
My sound coming through good on your end?
Yeah, a little hollow, but I know that's because you've changed where you usually are. We got to get you some like either soundproof pads or like more of like a closet type space to record in.
I'm doing my best. I live in this old ass house. I'll fix that as much as I can in post. Should be all good for everybody.
Not a problem, bro. We are making it happen with what we've got. We've got 5 people in the chat. Sports fan, what up? Sports fan was in the live stream last night. We're going to do this again. Here, let's take a quick picture so we can tweet this out. Okay. Picture being taken in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay. Talkin Nets Twitter, which Talkin Nets Twitter is 11.1 thousand. 11.1 thousand. Oh, y'all be on them tweets, huh? Y'all be on them clips, huh? Hudson be out there fast with it. Okay. Let's get this tweeted out. And then once we get a little bit of an audience in here, we'll do the thing, talk about the Nets. Fanalysts.
What we do, Keith.
All right, here we go. Live Talkin Nets. Last 2 games. Okay. Where's my YouTube channel? There it is. And I need to go here and get this link. Copy this link. All right, people. We are about to do this. This is pre-production, what you're watching right now, before we go live. I saw someone put a comment like, you guys need intro, outro music. I'm like, we have that. You hear it on the pod. You don't hear it. You don't hear it in the live stream of us recording. We used to do these on Zoom. We used to do these privately.
We just thought, people might be interested, seeing us do the little pre-pro. And we get that good interaction, too. We get people asking questions. We get the fan interactions. I've seen the reviews. We've gotten more reviews since we started doing them live because we can directly ask you to support the podcast like you do. And it's dope. It's good interaction. It's always fun seeing who pulls up when because we don't even do these lives on a schedule. We just kind of do them when we can get them in.
Got to be flexible.
We still got everybody pulling up in the crowd, even on a Monday morning, Memorial Day weekend. Hope everybody's enjoying their day off.
I think I know what I got to do. Got to switch my headphone input. There we go. And then go to StreamYard and switch where my audio is coming in and out of. Audio, speaker, sure, yes, sure, yes. Check, check, check. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's start this thing.
Let's get it going, Keith. Count me in.
Oh, no. GarageBand always does that. Are we good here? Yeah, we're good here. Yeah, we're good. All right.
You're good. Alrighty.
Talkin Nets, episode 106. It is Monday, Memorial Day. The Nets are up 3-1 after splitting in Boston. That first game kind of sucked, but we only lost by 6 points. I feel like we needed that loss. We needed to learn a lesson. And then we turn right back around Sunday night and get it done. Kyrie responds. And then, of course, the Celtics fans, in true Celtic fan nature, show their ass. And now we show that guy's face all over the internet, and everybody knows what a clown he is for throwing a water bottle at Kyrie. Talking Nets, let's get it, man. All right. We're there, and now I'm going to count us back in for the pod in 5, 4, 3. No, ruined that on my GarageBand. Let's go back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talkin Nets, episode 106. Split in Boston. Nets up 3-1. Looking for that gentleman's sweep in Brooklyn. Keith McPherson and Hudson Flynn joining you on Memorial Day. Happy holidays. Hope you enjoyed the long weekend. Hope you got some things done. I know it was raining all through the New York City area. It was water world out here. We got a downpour each day. Hudson Flynn, how you doing all the way up there in Albany? How is the weekend for you with family and friends? How are you feeling about your Brooklyn Nets?
I'm feeling good about all of it. Obviously, we didn't get the Memorial Day weekend weather we were all hoping for. No one's going to the beach, going to the lake, enjoying the weather when you got the torrential rain coming 24/7. But the Nets gave you a pretty good weekend, and I think they capped it off in a pretty good way, an emphatic win, a record-setting win. I'm feeling good about the Nets. In the intro, in the lead-in, you said that we're feeling, pretty good about that loss. All things considered, never happy about a loss, but if you're going to learn something from a loss, this was the one to learn from, just like James Harden said in his post-game. So I'm feeling good about the Nets. We got the gentleman's sweep ready to go. We're closing it out at home court. We're going to have a full Barclays Center. We're going to be rested. We're going to be ready to go at home for the Bucks who are waiting for us. And I think the Nets are ready. I think the Nets are going to enjoy getting the extra reps in this last Celtics game. And then we're going to call wraps on the series, and we're going to move on to the next round. And all the stuff we learned this series is going to get put to the test against a real team. But Keith, before we do that, let's look back. Let's talk about these games.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves, Hudson? Are we getting ahead of ourselves already, assuming that we won the series?
People love saying that, don't they? They really do love saying that we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Whoa, we're only up 1-0. Whoa, we're only up 2-0. Whoa, we're only up 3-1. Like, okay. We're not supposed to lose this series, and we're not going to lose this series. And it's perfectly fine to be talking about the Bucks as the Bucks swept their series, and as we take a quick look around the NBA playoffs to start this pod. No news and narratives. It's playoffs. You know what the news and narratives are. The Nets are looking good. They're up 3-1 in their series. You know that. You're Nets fans. The Bucks are looking great. They swept the Heat.
Got the brooms out.
They handle business. They didn't even let the Heat, the defending Eastern Conference champs, get one game.
It's not the bubble anymore, Keith.
I watched a little bit of that series, not as much as I would have actually liked, but from what I saw, the Bucks were in control. They were the way better team. They're not the same team as last year. They had a chip on their shoulder about last year, getting knocked out by the Heat, and they handled business. So the Nets are up 3-1 on the Celtics. The Bucks sweep the Heat. That series is over. The Hawks lead the Knicks 3-1. I don't know if you guys have been watching what's been going on.
But I thought they wanted Brooklyn. They wanted Brooklyn. They couldn't even get Atlanta. Oh, man, that's a tough look. That's a tough look. We chilled on the Twitter. We chilled. We didn't want to rub it in too much. They know they're down. They know they're losing that series. Atlanta moving on. It's a tough look.
That might
be tough cold world.
That might be the only playoff win that they get. And they celebrated that first win in 8 years like they won the whole thing. People in the streets in Midtown, outside MSG. We're not going to spend too much time on them. I already told Hudson we're up here. We don't need to keep dropping down to their goofy ass level. But the Hawks lead the Knicks 3-1. The Sixers are up 3-0 on the Wizards. Game 4 is tonight. And that's how the East is shaking out. It looks like it's going to be Sixers, Hawks, Nets, Bucks. Now in the West. The Wild Wild West. I love how the West is shaping up. It's pretty even. It's pretty tied. It's knotted. The Suns and Lakers tied 2-2. You guys probably saw AD went down with the groin. The Clippers and Mavs. The Mavs go from down 2-0 to fighting back to tie that series 2-2. Now it's getting interesting. And then you look at the Blazers Nuggets tied at 2-2. I think the Nuggets, it's their series to lose. But they're going to have to battle. Those series could all go 7 games. And tonight, the Jazz play the Grizzlies in Game 4, and they lead the Grizzlies 2-1. We'll see what happens there. But that's enough looking at the rest of the NBA and the rest of the league. This is a Nets podcast. Let's get into these games. Game 3, Friday night in Boston. The Nets lose 125-119. And you got to lose to know how to win. That's an Aerosmith song. I forget what it's called. Oh, Dream On. And Dream On, they say, I know everybody says you got to lose to know how to win. And that's true. James Harden came out after that game and he said it's kind of good that this happened. It kind of lets us know that it's not going to just be easy. Teams aren't going to just lay down. And we knew we were going to get the Boston Celtics' best punch, right? Game 1 in Brooklyn, that was a great punch by them in the first half, but they couldn't sustain it. Their first game on their home floor after Tatum basically sat the second half in Brooklyn when he got poked in the eye, he was rested. So we knew we were going to get the Celtics' best punch. We knew we were going to get the game from Tatum where he goes off for 50. We knew that was going to happen at some point in the series, and there it was, and the Nets only lose by 6. So Hudson, tell me what you're thinking watching us lose this game. It's the first game in Boston. They had 33% capacity in their crowd, and you knew the narratives around Kyrie, the underlying racism, the talk about how their fans need to keep it to basketball, and Kyrie basically said, I hope that's it. Hope we keep it to basketball. Knowing what you know, share some thoughts with us about this game that we lost. The only game that we'll probably lose in this series, Game 3, the Friday night game in Boston.
You know the story. You know the narratives. If there was an episode, a game, a single moment for all of the rest of the NBA world to be like, look, we told you so, it was that game, right? The defense didn't show up. The Nets didn't win the race to 120 points. The bench didn't show up. The lights were, too bright for Kyrie. All of the narratives that everybody talked about all season came to bear in that one episode. Nash's rotations weren't good. The bench was abysmal, only scoring 11 points. We didn't have the big men to stop Tristan Kardashian. It just didn't work out well for the Nets. Okay, that's what happened. That's, if you want some in-depth analysis, that's what you got. All of the Nets, that bad things that people have been complaining about the Nets about for the whole season, they happened. It's over. It's done with. And we learned from the game. We saw that the Nets really need to step up. Someone just said in the chat, I think we're all allowed one of those. And the Nets use theirs. They use their game to lose, to know how to win. They had their mulligan. Nash didn't coach well. The big three played well. Obviously, Kyrie was lackluster, but you had James Harden and Katie putting up close to 40 points. In James Harden's case, 41. And look, there are things you learn from it. There are things you can grow from it. It certainly wasn't the blowout that I feel like the media were definitely portraying it to be. It was a 6-point loss. The Nets stayed in that game for a long time. But at the end of the day, an L is an L. We held the L. The Celtics get their win. Celtics fans got to talk loud, talk heavy for a whole couple nights, and then we're just gonna call wraps in the series, and at home in Brooklyn. They did Brooklyn Nets fans a favor. They're gonna let us close out the series at home in Brooklyn, and that's really all you can take away from it. Things didn't look great. All the bad stuff came to bear, but if it happens, it happens. It happened in a series where it doesn't really mean much. We weren't, ever going to lose this series. Obviously, knock on all the wood that you have, but I'm not worried. I think the Nets learned from it. I think we're growing from it. It's a Nets world, and we're just living in it.
I'm happy for the Celtics and their goofy ass fans. I'm glad that they got one playoff win out of this team. It's been a miserable season for them. No Jaylen Brown, which I have to speak on Jaylen Brown real quick. Jaylen Brown, you're hurt. No one's asking you to do medias. Jaylen Brown decided to speak. I think I saw our guy Eddie Gonzalez speak on the fact that Jaylen Brown decided to speak on the racism in Boston and kind of trying to deflect and say, like, why are we talking about this now? Why are we choosing to talk about this now? Well, any time is a good time to talk about racism, discrimination, things that aren't right, Jaylen Brown. And you deciding to take that stance, which it just seems like a Celtics like homer stance. Like you're actually like standing with this franchise and team over who you were before you ever stepped into that franchise and team. But whatever. From this game, I'll say that it needed to happen. In this game, Claxton looked like a young player. He looked like a young guy. He looked like a guy that was in his first playoff game, even though it wasn't his first. I was a little worried that Bruce Brown didn't get into the game until I think there was like 8 minutes left. It's a homecoming for him. It's him going back to Boston after he made his comments about things that he was called and how he was treated in Boston. I wanted to see him get in the game and get active. But, yeah, again, Tristan Kardashian had his way. The Celtics lose Robert Williams in this game. And then the next game, they don't have him, and they also don't have Kemba. And we were in this game for the first time without Uncle Jeff. And I want to play a voicemail about Uncle Jeff, and get your opinion on, from what this fan has to say, and then definitely about like just what we think. Because I know what we think about Uncle Jeff, and I think his presence was missed in that first game, and it was an adjustment that had to be made. Let's hear from, I think this is Ron.
Hey, what's up, fellas? It's Ron again. This time I'm calling at approximately 3:59. Today the Nets play in Game 4, I believe. So I just want to talk about how this new narrative I keep seeing on Twitter from a lot of Nets fans is we need Jeff Green. And I feel like I hate when teams do this, or like fans of teams do this, like in playoff time. It's like they're chasing an excuse. I hate to see it for the Nets, because with having Kyrie, Harden, and Durant, and having other players like Joe Harris, the best three-pointer in the league, no bias, and then, you got players like Blake Griffin, and freaking Claxton. Like, you have all this talent. I wholeheartedly agree with Durant when he said, we have a big 15. So it's like one loss, and it's like, we need Jeff Green, Not saying he's not valuable or anything, but it's almost like saying it's the Bucks. When the Bucks lose, hopefully it's going to be for the Nets, because that's who they play next. Oh, yeah, we need Dante DiVincenzo. Forgive me for mispronouncing his name. Oh, we need him. It's like, y'all got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. You have all these other players. One player gets injured. That's going to be your fallback if things go less, if you catch a loss. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think that's it. Like I said before with the Celtics loss, is like you need somebody to drop 50. Freaking get Kyrie some earplugs, because they've proven that they can get in his head. And what was the third thing? There was that. Kyrie having an off night. There was something else. But yeah, like a lot kind of went wrong. Not a lot went wrong, but it's like you're not going to sweep everybody in the playoffs. Like, it's nice if you do, but I want to know what your guys' opinion on that whole narrative. We need Jeff Green. I feel like it's a scapegoat for losses. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.
I want to talk about Uncle Jeff, because while I feel like on the surface I'd like to agree with him, right? Losing Uncle Jeff should not be the difference between winning or losing a game against a Celtics team that is, at its core significantly inferior to the Nets, especially with all the injuries that they're dealing with. He is a very important player to this team. Arguably, he's the Nets' fifth or fourth most important player to what they've been doing. A chain only works if all of the links are intact, right? And Jeff Green is a major link. It's not just playing defense. It's not just the dunks. It's not just the threes. It's the leadership, right? If you go back to who got the Nets their ship righted after we lost that game to the Pistons in the middle of the season, we went on a 3-game losing streak. I think that was a big part of what he's bringing, that leadership quality. And look, you're going to struggle to adjust when you lose one of your leaders, when you lose one of your most important players. And we got people in the chat saying that he's a leader, and it's important to have your leaders. And that is something that I don't think can be understated. And he's more than just what you put on the stat sheet. Now, at the same time, he isn't a scapegoat. He's not a scapegoat. He should never be the reason. Not having Jeff Green, for his great and all the qualities he brings, should not be the sole reason for a loss. And he wasn't the sole reason for the loss. He just contributed to it. Now, I hope he's going to be healthy. I think we're going to need him in this Bucks series. He actually did do some pretty good stuff against Giannis the last time they played, so I'm looking forward to having him back. But at the end of the day, you can't put all that weight on one player, but you also can't diminish his role. The Nets want him back. They need him back for both the leadership and the stuff he brings on the court. But I do agree to the extent of which is if the Nets lose, he can't be the only reason that they lost. And I don't think he's the only reason that they lost. I don't think that's really the main narrative. I don't think that we, need him back or we're going to get swept out. We're going to get reverse swept by the Celtics.
Kyrie had a bad game. He had an off night, and Nash wouldn't attribute it to the fans, and I'm not going to attribute it to the fans either. Kyrie's been playing basketball for a long time. He played in TD Garden. He knew what he was walking into. He just had an off game, an off night. That's the biggest reason why we lost by 6 points. Kyrie only had 6 in the first half, I think. If he has another 6 points, that could be the difference in the game. 6 points, that's 3 buckets or 2 3-pointers. Like, that's such a small margin to lose a game. Now, also our bench, only 9 points off our bench, which I think I said in the live that we did on Instagram. You guys should be following us on Instagram. We're doing post-game lives on there. I said I thought the 9 points from our bench was an issue, but then I saw that the Celtics bench only scored 10 points. That was a game of superstars. This is the NBA. You are not going to sweep every team. If you sweep a team, that means they shouldn't be there, like the Wizards. They're going to get swept by the Sixers. They shouldn't even be there. They had to play in to be there. When you look at the Nets, that was James Harden's best game. We haven't seen Harden go off like that in weeks, months. That was Harden's best game. It was great to see Harden get activated. And KD had his way too. And before we move on to the next game, what I'll say is we do need Uncle Jeff. He's a leader. He's a veteran. When we talk about communication on the court, when we talk about court vision, defense, what guys are seeing, you need a guy like Jeff Green out there. He's not a scapegoat for why we lost, but it is a big adjustment to not have him. Also because we're not even playing DeAndre Jordan. We don't have that many bigs. Jeff Green can play the 5. When you don't have a DeAndre Jordan in there, which I saw some people calling for that too, and I was like, I don't know about that. I told you on the last episode, Dane texted me asking why DeAndre Jordan wasn't playing, and I said it's a matchup thing. This isn't a matchup that the Nets are worried about. They're not looking at DeAndre Jordan like he's the answer that can help us. He's more of a liability. Maybe we see him in the next series against Giannis, against Brook Lopez, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need Uncle Jeff. He's a veteran presence. He's a smart basketball player. He can get it done when our guys are on the bench resting. And here's another thing from that first game I thought. While Kyrie was struggling, I'm like, damn, don't you wish you had a Spencer Dinwiddie right now? Don't you wish you had a guard that can come off the bench and get buckets in the first half, and you can sit Kyrie down and talk to Kyrie and say, hey, we're good, bro. We're good, bro. Just be yourself. Just do your thing. We're good. Spence, hurry back, man. Would love to see Spence, if not in the next series, in the series after that, because we need him. You never know when you're going to need a guy. 2 things can happen, right? An injury to an Uncle Jeff. I'm praying for health, because even an injury to a guy like Uncle Jeff changes this team. I don't even want to imagine anybody else getting hurt. And then a guy having an off night in the big 3, like Kyrie, having an off night. And it's like, okay, these guys scored 104 points last night. Let's move on to the next game. Game 4, Sunday night in Boston, Brooklyn wins 141-126. I think this is the second game of the series that we put up 141 points. Do you heads understand what you're watching? What you are seeing is ridiculous. When you're seeing,
it's literally record-breaking.
Like, this is the Brooklyn Nets are going to do some laughable things through this playoff run that may never be done again. Hold on. My mic cut out. I think
You're
I'm
back.
good. I think
You're
I'm
back.
good.
You're
We're
back.
still
We
here.
got
We're still
you.
alive.
We got you.
The
We
last
got you
game
now.
that will be
We're
played
back.
at TD Garden is last night's game, and the Nets were completely in control from start to finish. You love to see it. No Kemba going into this game. No Robert Williams going into this game. And you knew we needed a bounce back game from Kyrie. We support Kyrie. That's on this, like literally on the t-shirts. We support Kyrie. And after the game that Kyrie had an off night, you saw KD join him in the post game. Talk about support. Talk about supporting your guy. Like, the thing is, we all know who Kyrie is. We all know who Kyrie is, and the Nets know who Kyrie is. We knew he was going to bounce back. People could have called it. People could have called, okay, we watched Kyrie play against the Celtics and average 30, 35 points. I think Hudson put out a tweet going into the first game saying, do you expect over or under? And I said under because I just knew we didn't know like exactly what it was going to be like. But the second game, almost everybody could have called that we were going to see Kyrie look like Kyrie and do his thing. He had the red Kyrie's on. I think Kobe signed him, or there was a tribute to Kobe on him. Some kind of mojo helped Kyrie out last night. Hudson, what were you thinking going into, which I thought last night going into game 4? I'm like, this is the most important game of the series. We cannot let them tie the series.
No, you can't go 2-2. That's just embarrassing. It's not like the Nets would lose. That's just embarrassing. Not a good look. But Kyrie came out, and more than just the scoring, he made winning plays. He had 11 rebounds. That's huge. And we had James Harden and Kevin Durant in their post-game press conference talking about how his rebounding, his skill, was one of the most important parts of the game, because you see a lot of swings like that, right? Like you'll have a player
in Hudson.
Just gonna pause my Kyrie rant.
Are you guys hearing Hudson?
Adjusts. I hope they're hearing me. I know my mic is hearing me.
Why can't I hear? Hold on.
They got me. My boys got me. I'll use this time when Keith is figuring out his, episode technical difficulties. Drop questions. We're going to do some questions at the end.
I'm not getting any sound from Hudson on my end.
Yeah, that's not you, Keith. But yeah, drop questions. We're going to hit some questions up at the end. I saw there were some earlier.
But I'm testing.
We're going to get to all of them. Ask us whatever you'd like.
The sound is working fine.
Keith is going line into his microphone and it stopped working, so that's a little tough.
All right, they can hear you, but I can't hear you. What's going on? Bro.
This kid, Keith. All right, yeah, there we go. We got a question coming in. Keep them coming. Use this time. It's a little mid-podcast intermission.
Let me leave this
that we got here. Oh, he's got me in the middle. You can see the outside of my setup. I can even go in Keith's square. I can feel like Keith for the day. What's up, everybody, though? How are we feeling? He's back. Now
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Now I got you, Keith.
All right, so let's keep rolling from talking about this second game, game 4. Go for it.
Let me just pick up. Let me resume my recording. I'm going to pick up right from where I left off.
Yeah, I will edit this in post-production. We'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's huge, right? He had a couple tip-ins. He was chasing down rebounds and getting offensive boards. That's something that you like. That's like always a plus. If you have a guard who's not, the biggest guy, not in there for rebounding, it's huge to be able to have him come in and provide those offensive rebounds, especially. Now, aside from the scoring, aside from all of that, we saw him just be a good facilitator and hit the shots that needed to be hit. So really all around, that was what Kyrie gave. He had a very good, efficient performance. He obviously responded well to the Celtics having 19,000 fans in the stand, and that was huge. It really dispelled with that narrative pretty quickly that you can get in Kyrie's head. Moving on, though, everyone else played well. I would say this was by far the Nets' most complete performance of the playoffs. 141 points obviously can't be a very incomplete performance, but we had Kevin Durant scoring at one of the most efficient clips I've ever seen. He put up 42, shooting about 75% from the field. He's ridiculous, 100% from 3. Every one of his shots, I was at least shocked every time one of his shots didn't fall. And then you had James Harden, who everyone's like, oh, he's having a quiet game. He's having a quiet game. 13 went out and put up one away from the Nets playoff record for most assists in a game at 19. James Harden had 18, and he was efficient putting up 22 points. Almost had a 20-20 game as the third option of the big three. It's all huge. It's all big. And we got great minutes. We talked about Clax getting bullied a little bit in that loss. Clax put in some great energy minutes. He played phenomenally in this game. He brought some size. He brought physicality. He brought toughness. He boxed people out well. It was a great showing from him. He played stronger than he looked. And that's a huge bounce back from him after what was a very difficult game for him in the last one. His dad even said he needed to get tougher. And that's exactly what he did. So that was great to see. And look, you're not going to have that many bad performances to talk about when you're blowing out a team the way the Nets did. And so I'm not going to talk about anything like that. I'm just going to say it was wonderful. If you are going to look and point to what offensive perfection looks like in a basketball game in the NBA, you point to that game in the playoffs, dropping 141 points, with your big three dropping a combined 106 points. It's just a different level. It's a different energy coming from Brooklyn. And I'm just glad I'm here to witness it because it's greatness and we're just living amongst it.
Was it 106 or was it 104?
I have no idea. That was my head math really quick. So I was doing head math while I was talking.
39 plus 23 is 104. Yeah. So either way.
That's on me. That's on me. I'll hold that out.
Only because I already was on the pod saying that they put together 104, and then I'm like 106. Let's make sure we got it right because somebody's going to use this pod to repeat to their friends and say, "Yo, the big three scored 106," and they're like, "No, they didn't. They scored 104." But either way, it's ridiculous, man. You're still getting Bruce Brown with 14 points off the bench. I knew this game was lit because Kyrie dunked and Bruce Brown dunked, and those are two guys. Like I said, like the first game, I wanted more out of Bruce Brown. I wanted more minutes for him. It being a homecoming, we got that in the second game. The second game, we got the Kyrie game. We got the 39 from Kyrie. We wanted 40 for him. And like you said, it dispelled any talk about the fans being in his head. A full capacity crowd got a 40-piece almost from Kyrie Irving and a lot better just, from the bench when you're talking about, Claxton now, he had 0 and he only played 8 minutes, but they were better minutes just because of what we were looking at in game 3 with the fouls and some other things. Chris Chiozza got into this game. Chris Chiozza broke his hand like a month ago. Like
TLC got into this game. That's the conversation. Game over. Conversation over. TLC played.
TLC is stepping in this game. And we just sent a message. And now it's time to talk about the message that was sent by Kyrie stepping on the Celtics face. Literally the Celtic man, the Celtic logo.
Got him right in the eye.
Half court, just steps on his eye, smears it, and walks off. And I guess these little goofy Celtics fans, that broke their hearts. That was too much for them to stand because he played for us. He's a traitor. And now he comes back with the Brooklyn Nets and steps on our logo. I'm going to throw a water bottle at him. Silly rabbit. That's
clownish
a quick way
behavior.
to get put in handcuffs. That's a quick way to get put in jail. We've seen this all week from the Madison Square Garden fan who spit on Trae Young, which that's just despicable. That's literally assault. You can't spit on people. Like, that's disgusting. Then you
especially during a pandemic. Oh my goodness. We don't know if he's vaccinated. That's terrible.
These people aren't thinking about any of that. Like, that guy should be banned. And I think they handled that in MSG. Then you got at the Wells Fargo Center, someone pouring their popcorn on Russ, adding literal insult to injury. He's got an ankle. He's going to the locker room. They dump popcorn on his head. And then you see this Sunday, last night, someone chuck a water bottle literally right past Kyrie. Now, what if it hit him? And then I saw other people like, what if it was a knife? What if it was a rock? What if it was a battery? Like, they got to control these fans and they got to make an example out of people. Congratulations. You played yourself. You bum-ass Kevin Garnett, Fugazi jersey wearing, goofy-looking
Boston the DH fan. Gate number 5 jersey. Oh, get out of here. Just absolute clownish behavior. Oh, my goodness. He's arrested. He is, I believe he's getting arraigned on assault with a dangerous weapon charges, as he should be. And my favorite part, because there really aren't many favorite part to take away from Kyrie getting a water bottle thrown at his head was Tyler Johnson was absolutely ready to Malice in the Palace 2.0 up in the stands after that water bottle went by him. Tyler Johnson was fully squared up. It was onside. If Tyler Johnson could have got to that dude in his bum-ass DH Gate jersey, there would be hands thrown. That. There would be hands thrown. Tyler Johnson was ready to go. He was ready to fight. It was on go. And I love that. I love that the brotherhood that the Nets have. I love stepping up for your players, stepping up for your teammates, for your brothers. And they did that in the press conference too. And I want to talk about that as well, because KD came out first in the press conference and he said just all manner of facts about this whole situation. And he really did just let everybody know that you can't be treating people like that. Your mother wouldn't approve. That's not how you treat people. You're treating them like they're not human beings, and that's just whack. And then Kyrie comes out and says they were treating them like zoo animals, and that's exactly what they are doing. And look, obviously there are the racist undertones that Kyrie spoke on, right? That's something that you cannot ignore. That's absolutely a part of everything that's going on here. But it's just disrespectful. It's just clownish, and something needs to be done, because clearly just getting banned for life isn't enough to stop these clowns from doing this shit, right? I think this guy needs to actually be brought up on these charges and fully go to prison, go to jail, get fined, whatever the punishment is for assault with a dangerous weapon, because people are going to keep doing this thing. This is the third incident in a week. It's just too much. It's too far. People get back in these stadiums and don't know how to act. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for us as NBA fans. We don't want to be represented by you. Be mature. Grow up. That kid is an adult. He's 21 years old. He should know better. It's just ridiculous. It's clownish behavior. And if you are an NBA fan that also wants to go to these arenas and just have a good, normal time, you should be angry at this, and you should be annoyed, and you should really hate on this guy, because he's making it worse for all of us now.
It's trash, because all these guys, they fit the same profile. They all look the same. They're like 20-something-year-old white men at a basketball game, taking it to a level that it doesn't need to be taken to. When you talk about these guys, these are millionaire, super athletic, like the highest level of athleticism, philanthropists, businessmen, fathers, husbands, and you're throwing shit at them like they're saying, like they're in a zoo. Like Kyrie said, this isn't the theater where you throw tomatoes. Like, come on. If basketball and your fandom and your allegiance makes you get to the point where you feel like you have to throw something from your seat,
check yourself.
You don't belong.
Check
in the
yourself.
Stadium. You don't belong in a stadium. I said to Hudson before I got on here, I was like, I would never do something like that. I go to a lot of games. But then that's the thing. I would never do something like that as someone that goes to a lot of games and knows how to act, and also someone that just knows how to act anywhere, period. You don't do that. All right, moving on, because now the NBA, like, they do have cameras everywhere. The clip that Hudson put out for us, that's probably going to hit 1 million, because we're able to see where these things come from. The NBA just came out this week and said, we're cracking down on this. It's the first round. This can't go on in the rest of the round. So I'm glad that got done. Let's play another voicemail out here after the Nets win. We need guys to call in. We need girls to call in. We need Nets fans to call in and react after the game.
Yo, what's good, Talkin Nets? This is Javi Bing from Hackensack. Follow me on Twitter. Man, how great, how amazing is it to see Kyrie stomp on that leprechaun's face after going through all them fuck Kyrie chants. Oh, man, you love to see it. You love to see it. All I got to say is...
What? Oh, no.
And I can't wait to get Giannis, Chris, like we're running on all cylinders. I'd be surprised if we lose against the Boston. And I can't wait for this Buck series, man. Oh, man, I can't wait to get Giannis, Chris Middleton, Forbes. Let's go, Brooklyn, Nets world, Nets level. Brooklyn.
We go hard. So a few things from that. Yeah. It's just so easy. Like, Kyrie knew what to do, right? After we beat y'all, and you said everything you could possibly say to me. You got F you Kyrie chants. Kyrie sucks. They did the same thing to KD. They booed Kyrie every time he touched the ball. He knew these weak, fragile individuals, somebody he could get to by just stepping on the logo, and he did that. And I love it. I put it on our Instagram. I put it on our Twitter because as Nets fans, let's go back to 2013. Like, there's history here. This is not 2013. This is 7-11-13. You look at that team they have. Why do they have Jason Tatum? Why do they have Jaylen Brown? Danny Ainge. Let's speak on his name. Danny Ainge.
The deaf man, didn't hear no racism. Doesn't hear anything. No one's ever mentioned it. Oh, Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge.
Danny boy, you still riding off that Doc Rivers championship. You had it. You had all the picks. You had the finesser of the century title. You made that trade with Brooklyn in 2013. You thought you had it all figured out. Can't even get out of the first round. You got one playoff win this year. Better luck next year. Maybe you need a new coach. Maybe you need to go in a new direction. Maybe you need to get off that seat because you're not beating Brooklyn. And the Nets done figured out how to come back pretty quickly and whoop on you. And here we go. We're one game away from advancing in the playoffs. The next game will be Tuesday. I will be in the building with the Brooklyn Brigade and the Block. This is a no-brainer. Like, I'm vaccinated.
Too easy.
Plus a lot of time. I'm in with the gang, with the mob. What was you thinking? Like, I'm going to be there to watch the gentleman's sweep and watch the Nets get out of the first round. I've been to the Nets first round playoffs where that was it. Like, every other time. Like, that was it. So I'm pumped to be there when the Nets have the chance to close it out and move on Tuesday. And we'll be back with a pod right after that game. So Wednesday morning, Hudson and I will be back. Usually we pod after two games, but I feel like, we're closing the series. We got to close the series on Tuesday, and we'll pod and talk about the whole series and then give you a preview looking into this Bucks series, which I got a lot to say about. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I want to say this to Nets fans. Do not be shook of Giannis and the Bucks because they swept the Heat. That shit has nothing to do with us. Has literally nothing to do with us. It's not even kind of the same matchup or team. It's not going to be the same series. I expect our series to go 6 or 7. And thank God we have home court because it's going to make a difference. I will be in Milwaukee on Saturday. I will be in Wisconsin on Saturday and Sunday. I guarantee you I'm going to put a Talkin Nets sticker on something that says Bucks or Pfizer Forum. I don't know. Be on the lookout for that content. I will bless their arena with some Talkin Nets energy. And now we got to bless y'all with some Talkin Nets reviews. Appreciate y'all on the road to 100 reviews. We're at 91.
We're getting close, Keith.
9 more before the series ends. Can we do that? If you're listening to this podcast on Apple, pause the podcast, go back, write a review, 5 stars. All you got to do is throw a thumbs up emoji, and I'll read it on the pod. Let's get to 100 reviews before we close out Tuesday. And when we come back on Wednesday with a new pod, I want to read some new reviews. Let's run through these. From last Tuesday, 5 stars. D. Garrick writes, the best fanalysts out there, exclamation point. Hey, we're just fans, right? We're not coming here acting like we're analysts. We're just fanalysts, a.k.a. we're fans of this, just like you. We watch the same thing you watch. We're on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, just like you are. Next review from Thursday. Oz_31 writes, top Nets pod, 5 stars. Supporting my guys who are always there when I want to hear some Nets content on my way to work. Offering knowledgeable and true fan takes and info. Nets World, exclamation point.
We're the brand.
Appreciate
We're the Nets
brother.
Brand. More than just a podcast. Always there.
I literally think about people listening to this podcast as they're going to work, as they're in the gym, as they're cooking dinner, cleaning their house. Like, whenever you get a chance to listen to it, we are glad to be here as your fanalist, just talking the talk, man, talking Nets, giving you some Nets conversation that, we've needed. This fan base is needed like this. Okay, one more from Saturday. Sports_fan53. Is that the same sports fan that's in the chat on YouTube? Shout out to you if it is. Best pod, 2 exclamation points, 5 stars. This is the best pod I have seen. These two guys talk about this team with a lot of descriptions. Well, it says descriptions with a lot of descriptions, and they make the pod so much fun. They make it interesting and very enjoyable to watch. Best pod out there by far, 5 stars easily. So basically,
Keith.
You should watch the pod, not just listen to the pod. I think that's our guy, Sports Fan, that usually is in the YouTube chat. So appreciate you for leaving YouTube, going to Apple, and writing a review. 91 reviews. We got 9 more to get. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review this pod. It makes us look good. It makes us look better. You know what it did? It got us noticed by the New York Times. Young lady named Marie watches this show, likes this podcast, enjoys the type of stuff that Hudson and I talk about: basketball, pop culture, hip hop, fandom, the Nets world. We put out a shirt with a bunch of nicknames, and I decided that Bruce Brown would be commemorated and remembered forever as Masked Bruce. I knew I was right with that. Even though some people questioned me and said we did him dirty, we should have called him Biggie Smalls or Bruce Wayne. I was actually the first one to tweet anything about Bruce Brown Wayne the first time he wore the mask. But for the shirt, we did Masked Bruce, and it's in the New York Times with a hyperlink to the shop. And you should go to the shop and get your merch. Shop.johnboy.com. Search Talkin Nets. Search podcast merch. We've got 3 new shirts for the playoffs. The Masked Bruce nickname shirt, which also features Joey Buckets. Great time to have a Joey Bucket shirt after the game that he played in game 2. Playoffs or scary hours are for playoffs. That was scary hours last night. You look at what the big 3 did. And then last but not least, we support Kyrie. It's up there. It's up there. It's just obvious. We support Kyrie. So do the Brooklyn Nets. That's our guy. We've got his back. You should get a shirt so that when you walk into somewhere, they already know what type of time you're on. Make sure you follow us at Talkin Nets on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can follow me at Keith McPherson across all platforms. Hudson Flynn, where can they follow you?
Follow me at Hudson Flynn, but you know what I say. Follow the brand on all platforms. You're getting towards 3K on Instagram, 11K on Twitter. The YouTube is blowing up, on the road to 1,000 subscribers. It's huge. Keith is going to be doing live content during the games. I'm always on the live content, tweeting out during the games. If you want Nets content, if you need to know what is going on in the Nets world, there's only one place to go. It's Talkin Nets. It's the brand. It's more than just a podcast. It's more than just a Twitter account. It's more than just a YouTube. We're here for all of your Brooklyn Nets needs. So give us a follow.
We're going to keep doing it, man. It's, playoffs. There's not that much time left in the season. It's just myself and Hudson with a little help from our guy, Twitchy. That's it. This is not a big operation. We're part of John Boy Media, but it's not like the whole company helps us get this done. It is Hudson and Keith doing literally everything, like I said, with a little help from our guy, Twitchy, who does some social media and some video stuff. So we appreciate y'all helping us get to this point. We're not going to stop. Call the voicemail after the game. It's 201-870-0461. Again, use that promo code on the shop. Through the playoffs, promo code playoffs gets you 20% off all Talkin Nets merch. I'm waiting for mine to drop. I would like it to get here by Tuesday so I can wear it to the game. And we'll have another vlog out after the game. I'll do another live stream. Hopefully when we get to the Bucks series and the Nets go to Milwaukee, Hudson can come here. We'll both be on the live. You guys can get to see how Hudson live tweets the games, how I'm clipping up the games, throwing stuff on Instagram, and then keeping people entertained. Last night, like during the commercials, I was playing beats because I didn't want to hear the same Jersey Shore commercial over and over again. It was a good time. People actually came through and chilled. We had like up to 70 people at one point that I noticed, and through the whole time that live stream has now over 1,000 views. That's all we've got. We can quickly ask for any questions from the chat, the YouTube chat. Don't want to leave you guys out. Let's see. Asia said, did you hear about the guy that threw a water bottle at Kyrie? I didn't. I did not. I hope nobody would throw a water bottle at Kyrie. He got arrested yesterday. Nah, I'm playing, Asia. We know. We were on it. We have a video right now that's going to hit 1 million views on our Twitter, and people are just coming in, and they're finding the rest of the stuff. They're finding that video from Media Squared, Nets Magazine, telling our story. They're finding me on a live stream from last night, 7 o'clock to 9:30, 10 in my living room, it's like, okay, people are starting to find out about this Talkin Nets stuff. We are doing what we're supposed to do. And that's all we've got. No other questions from the chat. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Appreciate you all, though. We will be back. Like I said, Wednesday, we'll have another pod out after we close this series. Game 5, gentleman sweep in Brooklyn. Hudson, any final words or thoughts?
Nah, Keith, let's close it out.
This is it. This is what we did all this for. All those nights of watching games, all those nights of Hudson and I working on this show, working on this brand, the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube. The YouTube just broke over 500 subscriptions. I think we're probably around 550 now. It's all coming together because the Nets are doing it and teams are getting eliminated now. So as there are less teams playing, there will be more focus on your Brooklyn Nets. As a Nets fan, please bask in it. Please enjoy this. We're getting out of the first round. Our team looks ridiculous. We have a big 3. We are the favorites. Please enjoy this time. This is not 2013. This is 7, 11, 13. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.
And that's the podcast. And right then, that is where the outro music would play, to anybody wondering. That is when the outro music would play.
That's the pod. That's the pod. Good show. Good stuff. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Asia said the stream was lit yesterday. I appreciate you pulling up, Asia. I was just trying to keep y'all entertained. It's tough because I'm watching the game and I know you guys have different streams, and someone was like, Keith, can you put the score up in the chat? And I'm like, I could, but I can't keep updating it. I'll work on having a little widget in the window to have the score. But then I'm like, all right, I don't want people listening to commercials. So now I got a DJ. I got to drop beats during the commercials, bring the volume down. And then also give you guys game commentary, right? I had a moment where, Kyrie hit a 3, another play happened that I saw developing, all that's good stuff and good fun. And, we've also been doing the Instagram live stuff. So we just appreciate this community that we've built around Nets fans, NBA fans, and Talkin Nets fans, people that appreciate Hudson and I for who we are and what we're doing. And it's been a hell of a ride, but there's a little bit more left to go, and it's going to get more intense and it's going to get more real. And I can't wait. It's a dream, honestly, for this team to be this good and for us to have built this brand from dust, from literally nothing, to being something that people are looking forward to seeing and hearing and watching along with these games. So appreciate you guys. You guys are the ones that did it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Literally, there's no reason to do it if we don't. Oh, Corey Brooks just left a review. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need those reviews.
We're
92, 8 more to go. Let's go. That's huge, man. That's huge, man. We love y'all. It really is. You guys are the reason we do it. We're the fan brand. We're the fan podcast. We put out all of this stuff just for you guys to enjoy it, to have a good time being a Nets fan. And I'm glad that you guys are rewarding us with these reviews, with watching these live streams. It's just fun. It's a good time. And look, there's never been a team like this in the NBA, and there won't ever be again. So we just got to have the vibes going. We got to keep it. We got to have fun because, look, we know we're going to be having fun during the parade, so we better have fun now, right? Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's rare. Yo, Devin Flynn, is that your real cousin or fake cousin? I see Devin.
That is
Flynn
my real cousin. Is he in the chat? I'm not looking.
Yeah.
What's up, Devin? So Devin
proud of y'all.
He was at the game. He was at the game that you were at, game 2, I believe, or game 1. I forget which one. And he was there. He was there with my uncle, and he said that you the great Keith McPherson, was a little big time then when they tried to say what's up.
No way, impossible. I
was surprised because I thought Keith was the man. I thought Keith was the man of the people.
Never, bro. People stop me in Yankee Stadium. People stop me in Barclays now, and I got time for everybody. It just depends on your approach. If it was the type of thing where you said what's up in passing and I was moving, then I might have seen big time, but I'm not.
I think you might have been talking to Eddie, our guy Eddie Gonzalez from the ETCs, etc.
maybe I was posted up talking to Eddie Gonzalez about some real important stuff that I just was locked into that conversation and didn't move from that spot. But if you see me, like I tell people all the time, whether it's Yankee Stadium, whether it's Barclays, whether it's the streets of New York City, if you see me, don't just be like, yo, Keith. Don't be like, yo, Talkin Nets. Like, walk up like I'm a real person. Say, hey, what's up, Keith? I listen to Talkin Nets. Or, hey, what's up, Keith? I recognize you from Twitter. I'll be flattered and talk to you and say what's up and take pictures and do all that because I'm a regular dude. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. I'm a regular ass fan that has put all of his skills and things together into being a fan to share with other fans. So appreciate everybody. Devin Flynn, my apologies if I seem like I was Hollywood or big time. That's never going to be me. Even when I am Hollywood big time, I'm still going to say what's up, especially to the fam.
Absolutely. But I mean, look, Keith was chatting it up with Eddie, talking some real business talk. You know, don't want to get ahead of anything, but always love the connections we've been making with Talkin Nets. Some interesting things in the works. Keith's putting in the work behind the scenes, everybody. Big thing coming soon.
All day, every day. All right. Asia said, Keith, Nets made me feel better after the Yankees debacle. Yeah, I had to forget about the Yankees. And if the Nets would have lost last night, I would have been low. But I knew the Nets weren't losing. So all world, Nets world, baby. Appreciate y'all watching. Go enjoy your Memorial Day Monday before you get back to work tomorrow. That's all we've got. Talkin Nets 107 coming Wednesday. We out.